Boom, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with another final predictions. IZZY Adesanya taking on Nassourdine. And then we also have Shara taking on the Venom, Michael Venom Page. Rozenstruik taking on Sergei. Now, who do I have winning in these three fights? I'm going to have to go with... Boom, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another final predictions. We're going to break down these fights at the very beginning. Now, when you look at Rozenstruik taking on Sergei, the last time we saw Sergei inside the octagon, he fought his great friend Volkov, and he came up with a loss. And it was very hard for me to watch that because those guys go way back. They even had some on the internet did a very special montage of those guys playing chess together. He's coming off back-to-back losses. One to Tom Aspinall, he got knocked out, and then the one from Volkov where he lost to his friend. Now, that is something that an athlete has to overcome, because typically when you lose 3 in a row, you get your pink slips, meaning you get cut from the organization. And where does he go from there? Does he feel like he belongs? But those are two of the best athletes in that division. Tom Aspinall, the interim champion of Volkov, he just went 3 rounds against Sergei, and I thought he won that fight. So there's nothing for him to feel bad about or doubt himself. He's right where he needs to be, and I think this is a great fight for him to get back on the winning track, taking on Rozenstruik. Now, Rozenstruik, he is also a tough cookie to crack because he's very good on the feet, and he also has a very long, extensive kickboxing background, and we saw that when he took on Tai. So when it comes down to this, I think the keys to victory for both of these gentlemen is to not get knocked the fuck out. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Sergei. I think Sergei, you know, he came off that loss with Volkov, but he also rocked Tom Aspinall when these two fought for the interim championship. So I'm gonna have to go with Sergei. I think he's a lot cleaner, he's a lot faster on the feet. Okay, now let's go on to the co-main event. This one's very interesting, a very unique, interesting matchup between Bullet taking on Michael Venom Page. Both these guys are very dynamic on the feet with their striking. When you look at Bullet, he tends to take that bladed stance and loves to throw a lot of side kicks, and I think the reason why he likes that is because he's keeping the range and the distance inside the void, and then if somebody tries to go behind him, he has that spinning back fist that he can just whack. And if he overshoots his side kick, he throws it, you step to there, boom, right into the spinning back fist. But Michael Venom Page, he is no slouch on the feet. He loves to stay outside the void, do his nice little dancing, and then boom, blitz across it. And the last time we saw Michael Venom Page inside the octagon is when he took on Ian Gary. He came up with a loss on that, but he's so damn good on the feet. He even gave Ian Gary a hard time because he has that unique style and he's so fast. Now, and when you look at the styles of Shara, Bullet, and Michael Venom Page, a lot of people might say they're similar, but they're truly different, right? They're both dynamic on the feet with their striking, but when you look at Michael Venom Page, he kind of sits out there and waits and kind of showboats and does these, he emotes. If you go back and watch all his fights, you know, he was beating some dude up, he's like, he's like, Pokemon, like he's always doing something to try to throw you off your game, because typically when you're fighting somebody, it's always traditional. My hands are up, we're looking at the chest or the eyes, and we're being traditional, where he tends to keep his hands down, super low, waiting for you to do something, kick his legs, and he tries to blitz across the distance and get in the void and hit you as fast as he can. To where Shara Bullet, he tends to have a nice style where his hands are not low to his knees, but he keeps it nice and low, keeps his hands up, and he has a nice rhythm back and forth, and he does that bladed stance kick, the side kick, and he comes back, side kick, come back, and then he's looking at the spinning back fist. So that's how those two styles are a little bit different. One has his hands down, showboating, kind of like Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, to the other one kind of has his hands up a little bit more, and he's light on the feet, and he's dancing on the toes. Not saying Michael Venom Page isn't dancing on his toes, but he's like, come on. Now, when you look to the keys to victory for both these guys, it's almost the same thing with Sergei and Rozenstruik. They're both strikers. None of them tend to actually go to the ground and look to use some type of jiu-jitsu, wrestling, none of that. They typically like to stay on their feet. So one for Shara is just be dynamic. Same thing with Michael Venom Page. Nobody expects Shara, Bullet, or Michael Venom Page to go out there and do a blast double leg. But if one of those guys do that, it can change the whole landscape of that fight when those two lock horns. Ooh, This one's tough because they're both very dynamic on the feet. But I'm gonna have to go with Shara Bullet. I think Shara has a little bit more tools in his bag, and I think he's the one who's not gonna be afraid to go to the ground. Okay, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you play directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your app store, download PrizePick. When you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. They got a cool promotion going on right now. You play $5 and you're gonna win $50 no matter what happens in your lineup when you make your picks. And then we have the final week of the NFL. Super Bowl is right here, ladies and gentlemen, and here's a free chance to get a free square, half a yard, and you're gonna get that free pick. So make sure you guys lock in your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now let us get to the main event. We have my man IZZY taking on Nassourdine. Now, it's been a long time since we've seen IZZY fight in a main event without gold on the line. And IZZY's coming off a 2-fight lose streak. He lost to Sean Strickland. Then he got the opportunity to try to get his belt back against Dricus Du Plessis, and he came up short. He got finished. Now you have Nassourdine, who's kind of on a rise. I've broken down one of his fights. Pretty well rounded. He tends to like to stay on the feet. Does a lot of clinch work. It'll be interesting to see how Nassourdine approaches this next step in his career, taking on the former world champion in IZZY. Now, when you look at what IZZY's going through and where his career is kind of taking place, I was reading a couple things that he was talking about, saying that when I lost to Sean Strickland, it was kind of off night. When I fought DDP, I made some mistakes, but now I feel like I'm back and I'm dialed in, ready to get back on that winning column and work towards getting my belt. And he even said, fuck the belt. He doesn't care about the belt. He wants to go out there and make a statement and get back on that winning track. And hopefully, if his path leads him back to the belt, awesome. If it doesn't, I can see him say, hey, I just want to fight. I got a couple more years left. I'm sure he wants to have kids. I'm sure he wants to get married. And that is something that I think every athlete wants to have if they want to have it in their life. But when you look at the keys of victory for both these gentlemen, IZZY Adesanya's got to do what he does best. I love what he did the last time when he fought DDP. He went forward a lot more instead of using the void, waiting for somebody to come across, countering him, backing up, and going lateral. Continue that same type of striking style that you did against DDP. Go forward. Another thing, key to victory number 2, be dynamic. I would love to see some wrestling, some clinching, passing guard, takedowns. But we talked in person. He goes, I don't have to do that because nobody can really deal with my stand-up. But if Nassourdine is able to stand with IZZY, I would love to see IZZY change the game and throw another puzzle piece on the playing board by doing a double leg or clinching or do something totally different. And 3, go out there and be the style bender. Do what got you to this dance, and don't forget what got you here, which is being the style bender and being dynamic on the feet. Now, when we look at Nassourdine, the biggest thing, when we look at IZZY and we look at the things that get him trouble in his previous fights, constant pressure, constant pressure. When he fought Sean Strickland just kept coming forward across the void, putting that pressure on IZZY and not ever biting on any of those feints. You look at the fight, even with Romero, he never bit on the feints. And you look at what DDP did. DDP kept that high guard and not really exposing himself. That way, he was able to get across the void and get his hands on IZZY Adesanya. And then keys of victory 2. Don't be scared to go to the grappling. Don't be scared to take the fight to the ground. This is your opportunity to shine and capture this moment against a former world champion in IZZY. And a lot of people don't really know your name, and it's a perfect way to catapult you into that top 5 in the middleweight division. Now, who do I have winning? You guys already know what it is. I mean, I ain't gotta tell you guys. I'm always gonna go with my boy IZZY. If IZZY was gonna step up to fucking fight King Kong Godzilla back to back, I'm always gonna roll my boy IZZY. So I'm gonna go with IZZY over at Nassourdine. That's what I'm gonna go with. If you guys enjoyed this final predictions and the breakdown, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live, and make sure you guys come back here as we will do a instant reaction of this fight. It does start early, so make sure you guys get your drinks and ready to rock and roll and watch this fight. We will see you guys in the next video.